Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, and it's just another little newsy video today because we're putting off reviewing Into the Dalek because we already reviewed it.
Yeah, we have done
and,
it, technically.
and it failed. So now we're just stalling for time. But it's okay because there's a reason to stall for time. There's actually a few reasons to stall for time. There's been some more Doctor Who 60th news. Yay! And reveals.
Yeah, well, we're nearly a month away.
We are.
This time next month, we might have seen one.
To be fair, we might have seen at least one.
If the rumours are to be believed
next month.
about the air dates.
Yeah.
We'd have seen one by now.
Exactly. Well, I guess we'll start with that then. We'll start with these sort of rumoured air dates that no one's really sure yet. You know, we're almost a month away.
Mm-hmm.
So we're expecting any minute now for them to hopefully reveal some air dates.
Yeah.
But there's been plenty of things pointing to when they could be. The first thing is that sort of estimated TV guides have put different programs on the Sunday slots where they could be. So if the show is coming back, it looks like it's going to be a Saturday, which I don't think is necessarily a surprise.
No.
I'm fine with that. I think for me, I'd rather have it on a Saturday night and then have the nice feeling of a whole other day off afterwards. It's kind of like when you go on a night out. If you go on a night out on a Friday night, you've then got the whole nice weekend to recover. Whereas if you go out on a Saturday night, you've wasted your weekend. You've Sunday's gone. Whereas if it's Saturday, you can look forward to it Saturday, watch it, and then you can just enjoy the rest of your weekend, which I think is nice. We assume it's going to be. Let me have a quick look at the calendar. Is it the 16th of November? No, it's not. Is it 11th, 18th, and 25th of November? Is the projected weekends, which I think is what we sort of thought for a long time.
That's what it's been for a long time, isn't it? What people assumed.
Yes, and sort of what's given that a bit more credence is the announced Dr. Donathon that they want to do, which is, I think, the official Doctor Who socials are going to be rewatching some 10th and Donna episodes, I think.
Yeah, they're rewatching all of Series 4.
Yeah, on the 4th of November, so that unless they're literally going to put an episode on that night, which I think is unlikely.
I think that just covers all the Saturdays, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If they do that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all 4 Saturdays in November.
November?
Yes, unless they're going to do 18th, 25th, and the 2nd of December, which I think is probably not likely.
No.
But you never know.
I think they don't want to keep it in November.
Yes, especially if there's a Christmas special coming up as well, which again is heavily theorised. Festive special so far, but take of that what you want. So yeah, there's not really a surprise there. I think that's good. I'm gonna miss the finale though because I'm at a concert that Saturday night. The finale's on, so I will literally be putting my phone on airplane mode.
Yeah, you're gonna need to be very careful.
Yes, I won't be going on any social medias. My phone will be on airplane mode, and as soon as I get back from that concert, I'm headphones on, watching it there.
What of all the ones to have to miss?
I know the finale is the annoying one. It's a shame, but
you've seen David go before.
That's true, and to be fair, it sounds like the second one's going to be the big boy
that's
anyway.
That's what we might speculate. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But that's not the only thing that's sort of been revealed. Not even revealed, but come out over the past couple of weeks. We've had some new music.
We have.
Which we knew was going to be coming because they filmed the concert, I think, at the sort of end of last month, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then everyone was expecting this last Sunday, but for some reason they released it on the Friday night instead.
They dropped it.
Not sure why, whether they accidentally did it or... But you can't even say because it was leaked because people who recorded it at the time put it out. So
there were some clips around already.
Yeah, so it's a strange
It wasn't
reason
like it was an immediate reaction.
Yeah, because I saw some people being like, oh, I can't believe they did this, but...
Yeah.
You didn't want to listen to it, you didn't have to listen to it. I think there was ample warning for that.
Yeah.
But they released the new theme tune, which I think is for the 60th. For the 60th.
At least for the 60th.
I don't know if it's for Shooty's New Era. I think they've said there might be 2 themes for that. I think Russell's already said.
It feels a lot more 60th, doesn't it?
Yes.
Than New Era. So I think that would make sense.
And then we've also had Ruby's theme, which I think is it The Life of Sunday, I think it's
something
called.
It's definitely got Sunday in it.
Yeah. And then we also have the 15th Doctor's theme, which is just called 15th Doctor's theme at this time.
That's what it says on the tin.
What's your favourite of the 3, and what do you think about the trio?
My favourite, I mean, it's probably the theme tune, I would imagine.
Yeah, that is very cool.
It's got a nice kind of blend, I think, of all the previous ones, well, some key factors of the previous ones, which is why I would lean towards this is more the 60th, and then
Yeah.
I'm hoping for something new for Shooty.
Yes.
I think that would be nice, you know, to have it all kind of fresh.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a decent theme. I like it a lot. You know, I like the addition of like the choir voices in there, and so yeah, I think it's a good blend for the 60th for sure.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, most Doctor Who themes are just bangers because it's, at a very base level, it's an absolute banger of a theme anyway. So
hard to go wrong.
Hard to go too wrong
unless you're the 7th era.
Unless you're in the 80s. But yeah, I thought the theme tune was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're always just going to like the Doctor Who theme tune because it's a Doctor Who theme tune. So, you know. But yeah, that's good. I've grown to really like Ruby's theme a lot more than I did when I first listened to it. I did like it. But I think I'm just a sucker for a piano, to be honest. I've always really wanted to play the piano.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the
All
patience.
the cool kids are doing.
Yeah, I don't have the patience, and I also don't have the talent to do it. So I have never tried. Because that's always the way. Just don't even try and just give up before you do it.
Is it?
Yeah, piano lessons are so expensive. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. In this cost of living crisis.
Exactly. I'll just do this. But yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I think it'll be interesting to see if the rumours surrounding how that piece is integrated into the show are true. In regards to Ruby's character, it's very depressing and melancholic, which is probably why I like it. And you know, if that's Ruby's like main theme or her introduction theme, is that going to be, you know, is this another character doomed for heartbreak and sadness? Probably.
Aren't they all?
I mean, yeah, they all are, really, aren't they? So yeah, I really did enjoy the kind of the waltz they kind of did with it.
The waltz.
Waltz.
If Joe Wiley was to be believed.
Indeed. So yeah, I think it was something. I mean, I say a bit different. I feel like there were echoes of, you know, it feels like, oh yeah, that's a companion theme.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to, not similar to, but it's very reminiscent of Rose's theme because that's also quite slow and, you know, when you listen back to them both, they're both quite slow and sort of not dramatic, but subtle, I think. Whereas if you listen to other ones like Martha's and Donna's, they're all very
the song
big.
of the blonde white woman.
Yes,
you
simple.
Might say. Simple. Funny. But yeah, I really enjoyed that piece in particular. I think that's the one that's grown on me the most since I've listened to them. So that was great fun. I like that one a lot, and I'm looking forward to actually meeting Ruby properly and seeing you know, that piece in action. Whether it's in the Christmas special, if she's in that, or if that's going to be a Series 14 thing. But it might not even be like, you know, a definitive piece for her. It might just be when we first see her, or they might be working on something even more devastating for us, which would be lovely, wouldn't it? But yeah, I enjoyed that one. And then 15's theme, I still haven't warmed to it. I am trying. It doesn't feel doctory to me. It feels like just a military camp almost. And maybe he's a very brash, you know, this is how it is, listen to me kind of guy, which will make perfect sense if that is his theme. And obviously I think it's going to be a whole different story hearing it in an episode and seeing how they kind of integrate it, because, you know, that's normally when I notice the music properly is when it's used in the show. So the fact that we literally know nothing from 15 at this point other than, you know, one line he says at some point, and we don't even know where he is when he says it.
That might not even be the line they use in the end.
Exactly, yeah. So, you know, it could be a perfect representation of 15, and once you've seen the Christmas special and Series 14, you'll be like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. But right now it didn't feel iconic to me, I guess. But maybe it will become iconic. It hasn't hit me the way the other Doctor's themes have all had, like, straight away. But, you know, maybe that's just a different approach to it, a very kind of underplayed kind of, you know, score, maybe something a bit different. But yeah, we'll see how, I guess, it's integrated into the show. It's definitely my least favourite of the three new things that we've heard. But I am more than willing for it to kind of win me over and change my mind. I think as a piece of music, it's good and enjoyable, and I like the beat to it and everything, but it just doesn't feel like a Doctor's theme to me currently. But that can easily change. Yeah,
I think mine, I'm completely opposite.
Shocking.
I know. I liked it when we first heard it, but I think listening to it since, it's been in my head for a while, like just humming it along when I'm working, and I just quite like it.
Good.
I think it's very it feels very action heavy, sort of, which is probably where the military thing comes from. but I don't think that that's anything.
I think
we've not
he will be
sort of
quite
had
an
before.
actiony sort of dog.
Yes,
Based on like
very
his
spry.
outfits we've seen.
Yeah,
he's going to be on a moped and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so I think that kind of makes sense. But yeah, it is curious because, you know, with those two themes, you know, Ruby's and the Doctor's, they're not really ones that you necessarily want to listen to before the show because you don't really have the context for them. The theme is the theme, so you can hear that no matter what. But with two themes that sort of need to complement what's going on the screen, it's a very strange thing to hear them with no video accompaniment.
And there's a chance that it's going to be like at least like 6 or 7 months before we even hear these in the show.
Yeah, and these might sound different in a TV episode than they do being.
Imagine being there
live
in the room for 15 Steve. Your ears would have probably exploded. It would have been great.
Yeah, so there's that whole thing. So it'll be interesting to see how they all play out on screen. But I don't think I haven't disliked any of them. I think it's definitely gone 15th theme. Ruby's in my order for me. But that's because I just think that in terms of what I want to listen to personally, it's probably going to be more fast paced and actiony than it would be slow and
about women.
Walsy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so that's sort of the music. There was this whole concert was dropped on BBC Sounds, and I think it's on BBC iPlayer now as well, where they spoke to the 3 screenwriters as well.
They did.
Chibnall, Moffat, and Russell. And they just sort of did different pieces of music from across 60 years, but they did one little section of everything pre-2005 and the rest of 2005, which I kind of think is fair enough because I think a lot of the
music is a bigger deal in the new series.
Yeah, a lot of the music from this has really come from the newer stuff rather than the old stuff. But the stuff they did play from the old stuff was good and memorable when you know where it's from.
Yeah.
But that's it. Speaking of iPlayer, they also made an announcement recently that over 800 episodes of Classic Who are coming to BBC iPlayer.
Yes.
They've previously only really been available on BritBox or ITVX, as it now is.
Yeah.
Or on DVD, Blu-rays. So they've been pretty hard to come by most of the time. And, you know, BBC iPlayer is, if you're in the UK, free. You have
free if you pay a TV license.
You have to pay your TV license, but you don't really have to pay a TV license. You should pay your TV license to get access to BBC iPlayer. And they've got all of Classic Who. We'll come back to the quotations in a second. All of the spin-offs, which they've all of the spin-offs. Again, we'll come back to the quotations in a minute. But most of those were already on iPlayer anyway. And all of Doctor Who Confidential as well, apparently. Which, as long as it is a full Doctor Who Confidential episodes, I think it's great. If they cheapen out and just do all the Doctor Who Confidential cut downs, I think I'll be a bit disappointed. But
if there's any with clips of an unearthly child in it,
they got to go. Yes, so that's the other thing. Is obviously there's quite a few Doctor Who episodes that are missing. You know, literally missing, as in they've been burnt or just not kept. So most of those are gone. I think they're including the animated episodes on
and
this
to be
as well,
fair,
it seems.
There are most of the missing episodes are now animated.
Yes.
With until recently with the deal to kind of make animations and stuff.
Yeah.
So if they're included, I think that's cool because I haven't seen most of those.
No, neither have I. And I think different listings have popped up and some have said brackets animated. So we'll see because this all comes out on November 1st, so it's only a couple of weeks left.
Yeah.
But to kick off Whovember, they're putting all this on there. There's been a bit of faff around An Unearthly Child because the descendant of one of the writers of the episode is kicking off over rights issues and usages.
Yeah. But apparently the BBC wasn't particularly kind to.
Yes, there's an element of that. This is the whole thing about we don't really know the truth in all this at the minute. The guy is on Twitter saying that the BBC sort of treated his dad terribly, which is obviously terrible if true. But then it also seems that this guy is a slight racist. So it's a bit up in the air. But what this has basically culminated in is the BBC can't get the streaming rights to Unearthly Child, which is a shame because it is obviously the first ever Doctor Who episode. But at the same time, part of me is like,
get it on DVD.
DVD. I think it's on other free streaming sites like Dailymotion and things like that.
I bet the people who made the collection wish they'd done season 1, not season 2 now.
Yes,
that's going to
exactly.
be a problem with that box set.
Yeah, and I mean, it does now mean that I think DVD prices for the Unearthly Child are probably going to go up a bit.
Yeah, I've already seen some on eBay for like £500.
Yeah, but I think they were the ones being sold by the guy who has them. So it's a whole mess, and I think there's part of it which is just him trying to get a bit more money out of the BBC.
I think so, yeah.
But I think there's also an element in case of if this whole thing was responsible for the whole show, then in theory he probably should get a bit more than than he probably was getting.
Because there might have genuinely been already.
Yeah, but the whole thing around we don't really know.
We don't know either way, so we can't really take a side.
Yeah, and the fact that the guy's been very vocal of his opposition of the current direction of the show due to the casting choices being made in both lead and support roles, I think it's not really led much support to his side, unfortunately. So he's not gone about it the right way. But maybe also the BBC haven't gone about it the right way. There's either way, there's no real winner here at the minute. So hopefully they can get it sorted. I think it'd be a nice thing if it comes November 1st, they've decided to bite the bullet, give them a bit more money and go, there you go then. We don't know how often these rights issues come up. They might come up a lot, very often.
Yeah.
There's also rights issues around the TV movie. We don't know for sure if that's included. I think Russell might have said that it is going to be on
I think he
BBC
did
iPlayer,
say,
which is great if they've managed to resolve that issue, but that was a rights issue with a film studio.
Yeah.
And I think that film studio was Fox, and I think Fox has been bought by Disney, and Disney are now working with the BBC to produce Doctor Who. So I imagine there's probably
quite a lot easier.
Yeah, I imagine there's probably been a bit of a nice easy workaround there, which could lead to further things down the line, fun things down the line, like reappearances of certain companions and masters, which could be useful in the main show. Obviously, they've maybe have appeared in Big Finish, but and then also there's K9 and Company. That's a spin-off that I don't think is included in. In
all one episode of it.
Which I think I saw people joking about, being like, well, it's not all spin-offs. But I think if we want to go down the whole route of preserving the whole show and letting people discover the quirks.
Yeah, it's like a rite of passage, K9 Company.
Yeah, and hopefully you get things like Time Lash and the animated, Dreamland and all that kind of thing.
Infinite Quest.
Yeah, all them that come out totally Doctor Who. I really hope they go the whole hog and just put anything and everything on this website, because they're coming up with a whole archive of like old images and interviews and all that kind of thing as well alongside all this. So they're really putting a lot of effort into making sure there's a central hub for everything.
Yeah.
So it'd be really good if they could do that. The live show for the 50th anniversary, that'll also be very fun if that's included. See the beef between One Direction and Doctor Who fans. One's still standing, baby, and it's not One Direction.
One was here long before and long after One Direction.
But yeah, so that's all coming, which is great news. Again, it's annoying about An Earthly Child, but if we're being perfectly honest, the first Doctor's run isn't notoriously known for being good quality anyway, so it'd be good to see An Unearthly Child and see the origins of the show.
Yeah, when they're all on about, like in the press, it's like, they can discover Doctor Who for the first time, but you can't watch the very first. You can't watch where it started.
No,
which is a shame.
No,
I mean the first episode of An Unearthly Child is great. The rest of it isn't ideal anyway. But yeah, it is a shame. I do hope they can kind of sort that out.
Because there are plenty of episodes that you can go in and jump in on and watch. We might do a short video sort of discussing what episodes there are, where we recommend you watch, and what you watch, because there's so much. Obviously, 800 episodes is a lot, and no one's going to watch all that.
Just watch season 18, I think. That's what we've discovered.
No.
Watch excellent.
Just go and watch all the Sidemen ones and all the Dalek ones, and that's it. That's all you need to worry about.
Just be a basic bitch.
Just watch all of them, and it's fine. And the Sontaran ones, they're pretty good as well.
To be fair, the Sontaran ones are watch season 12.
Yeah.
Season 12 excellent.
But yeah, go and discover. We'll cover that all as well. But I think that's been pretty much it in terms of sort of news. Obviously, Doctor Who Magic the Gathering came out as well, which I think has gone down pretty well.
Doomsday.
Oh yes, the end of Doomsday. So we spoke about it in our previous video. This was supposed to come out end of September.
Yeah,
delayed.
30th of September was the original.
Delayed. And then I was on holiday, and they finally went, "Here's the end."
Here it
and
is.
I could not access the webpage.
September 2nd or something.
I couldn't access the webpage. It was gone. It wouldn't let me on. I don't know if that was because I was abroad.
I would have to assume so, because I didn't have an issue.
Yeah, which is strange that would be a thing, though. I don't know why they would restrict it to.
They just don't want many people.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I was in Greece at the time, so I don't know why they got against Greece. Why the Greeks couldn't enjoy the end of Doomsday.
Greece know what Greece
did. Yeah, but it wasn't good. Let's be honest. It ended with a Word doc on a website.
It was a bit of a whimper to go out on, and I'm not sure it ever really had a bang in the first place, to be honest. But yeah, I haven't really engaged with Doomsday that much, so I guess it's not really my place to say. Well, all of it was shit because I haven't listened to the audio and stuff because I have no money to do it, and also I don't really care about Doomsday.
Yeah.
But I did read this, and it was, it was a thing that happened, and
It just kind of went, oh,
a very quick wrap up.
Yeah.
It did feel like there was literally no point to the story,
Which is strange because this surely they would have known how to do this, before they launched it. Surely this wasn't written end of September. Like, oh god, how are we going to finish this?
You would think, you would hope, but also like, why?
Unless maybe the writer's strike had an impact, but that wasn't really supposed to impact many UK productions. So it's strange. I mean, as you mentioned, we've not really engaged with the audios or stuff. But I did read the Doomsday book.
You did,
and that wasn't the best Doctor Who book I've ever read. Probably one of the worst.
Yeah, I gave up on it.
And then I think I read because I think this launched with a text post, didn't it?
It did,
on the website. Did that? Didn't play the Lost in Time mobile game.
No, I'd stopped playing it by that point.
Yeah,
so and that wasn't going to get me to pick it up.
No, definitely wasn't. And yeah, I'm not shelling out £25 for an audio, even if it does have Jackie Tyler in it. But it's a shame because again we've had this conversation many times. I hope they take the right lessons from this. I hope there's nothing wrong with doing multimedia. You look at Star Wars; they do multimedia events very well. You look at how well the whole, I forgot what it's called, the stuff set thousands of years before current Star Wars, like the Ancient Jedi stuff. That's done really well. I've read quite a lot of that. And it's having an impact now on the main show. If you can do that, I think it would be useful. But they're not. Maybe that's how Disney can help moving forward because they've obviously got this template that they can put them in touch with maybe Lucas Art Books, I think it is, and say, look, how did you do this, and just teach them a few things. But
they need to try. They need to actually put some effort
there's that. They need to.
It was so basic. It was about a character no one cared about.
Nobody knew.
The debut was not the highest of qualities in the first place, so
just don't if you're going to do a multimedia thing, just don't do any video.
Basically just
don't worry about it.
Because
in all the pictures it looks interesting, but then you watch the video and you go, oh, maybe not.
I just don't think it's in a show, in a universe where you can already do anything and everything you want on screen. I don't think this type of thing is for Doctor Who, to be honest. They've tried and kind of failed twice now.
You really need to branch out if you're going to do this.
Spend like years developing one, or just don't bother trying again, would be my opinion.
Because I mean, we've read Doctor Who books that expand and do stuff that the TV show couldn't do. They do stuff with the Cybermen that's interesting. I'm reading the Deviant Strain at the minute, which is a nice Doctor book, which is already about bones turning to jelly. Ooh. And I'm like, that's gross. You could not do that on the show. Yeah,
that Plague of the Cybermen went quite dark.
Yeah. So there's so much stuff you can do with books, even audios and comics that, there's that one comic that recently resurfaced where the 11th Doctor sends basically de-ages a time agent. He leaves and he turns out that's one of the kids that Jack gives to the 456 in Torchwood. So there's some really dark and interesting stuff that can be done with expanded media on the show. This just wasn't it.
No,
unfortunately,
it's a shame.
So I think this will be lost to time, unfortunately, and probably won't get referenced ever again. I think Time Lord Victorious will be the one that's known more, and is probably more interesting, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's always going to be like the first time they do something like that is just going to be the more memorable one.
Yes, and it also helps that there's at least three Doctors in that one, and the Daleks that are all more interesting than, unfortunately, Doomsday. But saying that, if they bring out the comics as like a binded one, and they end up on the 99p shelf in Forbidden Planet, I'll pick it up and I'll give it a read. But I cannot justify 50 odd quid.
It's just for what this story is. You're forking out hundreds by the end of, if you want to listen and engage with all of it, and I just it can't be worth that.
No, and I was burnt by the book with the tease of 9 and 2 meeting and interacting, and the Slitheen having a bigger presence, and it just wasn't that. And I felt a bit conned.
Yeah.
So it's a shame, but maybe it's just all about the marketing and how they marketed it. I think they just gave it. If this was a pretty small thing, you know, there's an element of maybe it would have done all right because there wouldn't have been the hype level and expectations.
Yeah, but they did they
did a teaser
the
of
two
it.
hearts plus emoji thing they've been doing for all these big announcements, and then everyone was like, oh, and then the next day they got the 50p budget video. I was like, oh no,
oh dear, you've really cashed in your goodwill here.
Yeah, I've not liked the emoji thing since because
I mean,
Doomsday killed it.
And I mean, it could become a whole thing where it's a meme in the future and people reference it and all that kind of. It could have a resurgence maybe, but
I think it will be memed for sure. I mean, it's been memed since the first video, so I'm sure that will only continue.
Yes, but
never mind Doomsday.
Maybe next time. You're only the you know, there are only two. You're only second on the list of Doctor Who things called Doomsday when we're ranking them.
Yeah,
admittedly, the other one is Doomsday. The other one, and there's a big gap between you both, but you're still second on the list. So
yeah, you are last, but you're also second. So that's not bad.
Silver's isn't too bad. You can say that. But yeah, I think that is it now for Doctor Who news. There's not, you know, we are approaching November. Russell has promised news, reveals.
Yes.
In his DWM Doctor Who magazine interview, he teased that they've worked on some like scripts for some, and they had 6 days of shooting something else.
Yeah.
So we're not sure what that is. Obviously, around the 50th, we got a few minisodes. So it could be something similar to that.
Yeah.
You know,
in that of the Doctor 2.
Yeah, I mean that could be how they get Eccleston back in if you didn't want to do a multi-Doctor one. They could put him in something, a little minisode.
Yeah, but it's
also Russell.
That production team, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it depends on if they've mended the bridges, which there is a chance they could have, but
I'd be very surprised.
We would be surprised, but maybe that's why it'll work. Maybe that's why they'll do it because they know that it will be a surprise.
Sure, yeah.
But who knows? It really could be anything, and I am excited to find out what is to come.
Yes.
But yes, that'll be it for now. I'm sure we'll be back soon with another video. Maybe it'll be Into the Dalek. Who knows?
Who can say?
Eventually. But we are entering a very busy period.
I just want to talk about Danny Pink. That's what I want to do.
I do, yeah. Danny Pink and the terrible commander of the army base.
I'm sorry.
Oh God, terrible, horrific. But yes, that'll be it for us today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.